Hello and welcome to the English Speaking Studio. I'm Jack, your co-host.
And I'm Lucy.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to try something a little different.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a look at overthinking and how a therapist's advice on how to kind of deal with this very common problem can actually help all of us as English learners.
Interesting.
So we're hoping that this deep dive will help you kind of break through some of those mental barriers that might be holding you back as English learners.
That sounds great.
And to really unlock your full potential.
It's all about speaking with more confidence and fluency, right?
Yeah, exactly. Getting out of our heads.
Yes.
And actually speaking.
McAdams' first point that she really stresses is that overthinking is a habit.
Okay.
It's not a personality trait.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah.
Because that means we can change it.
Right. And it's not set in stone.
Right.
She outlines 4 main types of overthinking. Ruminating about the past, worrying about the future, overanalyzing every decision, and then social anxiety.
Those all sound pretty familiar, actually.
Yeah. And they can all definitely show up when you're learning a new language.
Like, I know for me, I definitely dwell on my past mistakes in English.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe I said that, or I messed up that grammar rule again.
Yeah.
Or I get really nervous thinking about future conversations. Like, what if I don't understand what someone says to me?
Right.
It can be a lot.
It can, and that's why we're going over these tactics to help you break free from these things.
So what is her first tactic?
Well, the first tactic is noticing and naming it.
Okay.
So when you realize you're overthinking, she suggests to say out loud, I am overthinking.
Wow.
And that's supposed to create a shift in your mind.
It's like acknowledging it instead of just letting it kind of run wild in your head.
Exactly. It's like hitting the pause button on your thoughts.
I love that.
And here's a twist for you guys. Try saying I'm overthinking in English.
Oh, I like that.
So you get the double benefit of practicing English while also stopping yourself from overthinking.
I like it. Multitasking.
Right. She also says to think about what your triggers are.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so like what times or places or situations
Yeah.
really set off your overthinking.
So, for example, ordering food at a restaurant.
Oh.
That always makes me nervous.
Makes sense.
Or like having to give a presentation in English at work.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are definitely trigger situations for me.
Yeah, so once you know what your triggers are, then you can plan for them and have a strategy.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about like, oh, I'm overthinking again.
Right.
It's like, okay, why am I overthinking? And how can I maybe avoid this situation?
Or at least be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared or like have a plan in place.
Exactly. And that leads us to the second tactic, which is setting limits.
Okay, so what does that mean, setting limits on our overthinking?
Well, you know how you wouldn't just let your emails interrupt you every 5 minutes?
Yeah, that would be chaotic.
Right. You'd set a certain time aside to deal with emails.
Yeah.
So she's saying do the same thing with your worries.
So give our worries their own time slot.
Yes. So like set a specific time every day, maybe like 2 p.m.
Okay.
And then just for like 15 minutes you can worry.
Okay.
But then when the timer goes off, you have to go back to whatever you were doing.
So just like contain it.
Yeah. And she also says to write down what you're worrying about during that time.
Oh.
It's like you're transferring them from your head to the paper.
Yeah.
And I thought of a way we can connect this to English learning.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
You could use that time to write in English about your language learning worries.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
What do you think?
I love it. So I'm getting my worries out.
Yeah.
But I'm also practicing my writing.
Exactly. Win-win.
I love that.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
So now for tactic number 3, she says, you are the referee of your thoughts.
Okay, that sounds powerful.
Yeah, so you choose which thoughts to pay attention to and which ones to ignore.
Oh, so we're not just stuck with whatever pops into our heads.
Right. You get to decide which thoughts are allowed on the field, so to speak.
I like that analogy.
She also uses another analogy, which is a remote control.
Okay.
So you have the power to change the channel when you're having unhelpful thoughts.
So if I'm like, oh, I'll never be fluent,
Yeah.
I could just be like, nope, change in the channel.
Exactly.
I'm going to focus on something else.
And what would be a good thing to focus on?
Well, I guess something that I can control or something that I'm grateful for.
Right.
Instead of like spiraling into negativity.
Exactly. And McAdams says when you're overthinking about your English skills, try to shift your attention to concrete actions.
Okay, so what would that look like in practice?
Like, let's say you're overthinking about why you can't roll your R's.
I know a lot of people struggle with that one.
Yeah, so instead of obsessing over that, you could just practice tongue twisters that use the R sound.
Okay, so it's like taking action instead of just worrying.
Right. And when you take action, you build momentum and confidence.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So what's the next tactic?
The fourth tactic is grounding yourself in the present moment.
Okay, so this sounds very mindfulness-y.
It is.
I love it.
So she's saying shift your focus from your internal worries to the external world.
Oh, that's interesting.
And she uses this analogy of a window with words to help explain this idea.
A window with words. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, so imagine you're looking at a window and all your thoughts are like words written all over it.
Okay, I can picture that.
And it's easy to get caught up in those words, right?
Yeah.
But if you shift your focus to what's beyond the window, to the trees and the sky and the people walking by, you realize there's this whole other world outside your head.
It's like putting things into perspective.
Yeah, and it's like those thoughts lose their power when you expand your perspective.
So how can we apply this to English conversations?
Well, instead of overthinking every word you're going to say, you can just focus on really listening to the other person and what their body language is saying.
And just being present in the moment.
Exactly.
I like it. It takes the pressure off.
So we've learned how to notice our overthinking, set boundaries around it, and shift our attention to the present moment.
This is great.
Yeah, and there's more to come.
I can't wait to hear what other tactics she has up her sleeve.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So welcome back to our deep dive into taming the overthinking monster, and how it can help you unlock your English potential.
It's amazing how these kind of thought patterns can influence our language learning.
Right.
But the good news is
Yeah,
we're not at their mercy.
exactly.
We have the power to change them.
Yes. And building on those tactics we've already explored, I want to go a little deeper into aligning with your values.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. So when your language learning is aligned with your core values, it becomes so much more than just memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It has a deeper meaning and a purpose that resonates with who you are at your core.
Yeah, I could see that, like, it's that feeling when you're working on a project that you're really passionate about.
Right.
You know, you get so engrossed in it.
Yeah. Time flies by.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not even thinking about it. You're just in the flow.
Exactly. And when you connect your English learning goals to your deeper values, you tap into that same passion and purpose.
So for someone listening who might be feeling discouraged or, just a little lost in their English learning journey, what's a practical way that they can kind of connect with those values and reignite that passion?
I would say take some time for reflection.
Okay.
Ask yourself, why am I learning English?
Yeah.
What do I hope to gain from this? How will this enrich my life?
Yeah, those are good questions.
Right.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in, the day-to-day.
Yes.
The grind of like, okay, I need to study, I need to do this, I need to do that.
Right. You forget the big picture.
Exactly. So it's like taking a step back and being like, okay, but why am I doing this?
Exactly. And once you have that clear sense of why, then you can start to visualize yourself achieving those goals.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So if you dream of traveling the world, imagine yourself confidently conversing with locals, ordering food, navigating new cities.
Oh, that's such a good feeling.
Right.
Yeah, and for those who are learning English for their careers, they can imagine, getting that promotion.
Yes, giving that big presentation.
Leading a team.
Exactly. And those visualizations are really powerful. They fuel your motivation.
So you're not just thinking about it. You're actually like seeing it and feeling it.
Right. And you'll notice a shift in your mindset.
Okay.
Challenges won't seem as daunting. Setbacks won't feel as discouraging.
Yeah. It's like you're building that resilience.
Exactly.
And now for our final tactic, we're going to explore something that might seem a little counterintuitive.
It might.
Strategic distraction.
Oh.
It sounds a little bit like procrastination.
It can.
But I'm sure you're going to explain how this is actually a good thing.
Well, the key word here is strategic.
Okay.
It's not about mindlessly scrolling through social media or binge watching Netflix to avoid studying.
Okay.
It's more about consciously choosing activities that can help you unwind and de-stress.
Yeah.
But that also subtly expose you to the English language.
So, like, what would be some examples?
Well, you could watch a movie that you've been wanting to see.
Okay.
Listen to your favorite English music.
Yeah.
Or tune into a podcast that sparks your interest.
Oh, so it's like I'm taking a break?
Yes.
But I'm still learning.
You are?
Without even realizing it.
Your brain is absorbing all that information.
Yeah, it's like a sneaky way to learn English.
I like to call it osmosis.
I love it.
So the language is seeping into your subconscious without you even realizing.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I know that word.
Exactly. And the more you do this, the more natural and fluent you'll become.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we're basically tricking our brains into learning English.
I like the way you think. And speaking of enjoyable and effortless ways to learn English,
Oh, I like where this is going.
I have a fun segment planned for you today that will put your idiom knowledge to the test.
Ooh.
Are you ready for a little quiz?
Always. I love quizzes, especially when it comes to idioms.
Okay, so get ready for your first idiom to bite off more than you can chew.
Ooh. I've heard this one before, I think.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means to take on too much.
Mm-hmm.
To try to do something that's maybe too difficult or too time-consuming.
Yeah, it's like trying to eat an entire pizza in one bite.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get a stomach ache.
Okay, give me another one.
All right, hit me.
To let the cat out of the bag.
Oh, this one sounds familiar, too.
What does it mean?
I think it means to accidentally reveal a secret.
Yes.
To spill the beans.
You are on fire.
Yes.
Okay, last one to be on cloud 9.
Oh, that's an easy one to be extremely happy. To feel like you're on top of the world.
You aced it.
Woohoo. Thank you, thank you.
So you're clearly a master of idioms.
Well, I've had a great teacher.
Now, before we wrap up this episode,
Okay.
I want to take some time to answer some questions from our listeners.
Ooh, this is always my favorite part.
Okay, so this question comes from Maria in Spain.
Hola, Maria.
She asks, what's the best way to improve my pronunciation without feeling self-conscious?
Oh, that's a great question, Maria, because I think that's something that we all struggle with.
For sure.
Because you don't want to sound silly,
Right.
but you also want to improve.
And you want to be understood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are some tips for her?
I think the key is to find resources and techniques that work for you and that make you feel comfortable.
Okay.
There's really no one-size-fits-all approach.
So what are some things that people can try?
Well, some people find it helpful to listen to podcasts or audiobooks and try to mimic the speaker's intonation and rhythm.
Yeah.
Others prefer to use online pronunciation tools or apps.
Yeah, there are lots of great apps out there.
Right, and they give you feedback on the sounds that you're making.
Which can be really helpful.
And also, don't underestimate the power of recording yourself speaking.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know it can be a little bit cringy
Yeah.
at first to listen back to your own voice,
It's true.
but it's a great way to identify areas where you need to improve.
So it's kind of like having your own personal pronunciation coach.
Yes, exactly. And remember, practice makes progress.
So just keep speaking, keep practicing.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly. It's part of the process.
That's how we learn.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
Okay, let's hear it.
This one comes from Kenji in Japan.
Konnichiwa, Kenji.
And he asks, what are some fun and engaging ways to learn English through media?
Oh, that's a great question because there are so many options out there.
Yeah, there are.
So how do we choose?
Well, think about what you're interested in.
Okay.
If you like to cook, you can watch cooking shows. If you like travel, you can watch travel vlogs. You can watch movies, TV shows, listen to music, play video games.
Oh, yeah. Video games are a great way to pick up new vocabulary.
Yes, and don't forget about YouTube.
YouTube is amazing.
It's a treasure trove of content.
Yeah, it really is.
So find creators that you like and watch their videos.
All right, so we've got cooking shows, travel vlogs, movies, TV shows, music, video games, YouTube.
There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all the time we have for questions today.
Oh.
But keep them coming.
Yes, we love hearing from you.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.
But until then,
Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself.
you've got this. And welcome back to the final part of our deep dive, where we've been talking about taming the overthinking monster and how this can help all of us on our English learning journeys.
We've talked about so many different tactics from therapist Emma McAdam,
Yep.
and now it's time to bring it all together and see how we can actually integrate all this stuff.
Yeah, so as we kind of wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one final thought from Emma McAdam.
Okay.
And it's something that really resonated with me.
Okay.
She said, when it comes to thoughts trying to make them go away, backfires.
That's interesting.
And this applies to overthinking in general.
Yeah.
But I think it's especially relevant to, our language learning.
I agree, because the more we try to fight those negative thoughts about our English skills, the stronger they seem to become.
It's like that old saying, what you resist persists.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like if I'm telling myself, don't think about making a mistake,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to make a mistake.
Right. It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater.
I like that.
The harder you push,
Yeah.
the more forcefully it pops back up.
So what's the solution then? What do we do instead of trying to fight these thoughts?
Well, McAdams suggests a more gentle approach.
Okay.
So instead of trying to silence the thoughts completely, We can just acknowledge them, observe them, and then gently redirect our attention to something else.
So it's more about like noticing them without judgment
Yeah.
and then choosing to focus on something more positive.
Exactly. It's like watching clouds passing through the sky.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And, this reminds me of a mindfulness practice where we just sit and observe our thoughts as they come and go
Yeah.
without judgment
Just noticing.
and without attaching to them, because we don't have to believe everything we think.
Oh, that's a powerful realization.
Yeah. We have the power to choose which thoughts we want to engage with.
It's like we're taking back control of our minds.
Exactly. And, this applies to our beliefs about ourselves as English speakers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If we keep telling ourselves, oh, I'm not good at English, or
Yeah.
I'll never be fluent.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It does.
But if we can shift our thinking
Yeah.
and start to say things like, hey, I'm making progress every day, or I'm capable of achieving my language goals.
It creates a more positive environment.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really about, cultivating a growth mindset,
It is.
believing that we can improve
Yes.
and that our abilities are not fixed.
And that leads us to the end of our deep dive.
Already. Wow, time flies when you're having fun and learning about overthinking.
It does. But before we go, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
The journey of overcoming overthinking is not a destination. It's a process.
That's such a good point.
It's about progress, not perfection.
I love that.
And, there will be days when those negative thoughts creep back in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But just keep practicing
Yeah.
those mindfulness techniques and keep believing in yourself.
And be patient.
Yes, be patient.
Yeah.
Celebrate those small wins.
Because those small wins add up.
They do.
So as we continue to master our minds,
Yes.
we'll find that we're also mastering the English language.
We will.
So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep believing in your ability to achieve your English-speaking dreams.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.